Welcome back, everyone. It's me, and we are taking a look at the top 5 factions of all time. This is my list, and your list might be very different than mine. So let me know in the comments below who you think are the best factions of all time. At No. 5, we have the most recognizable faction in wrestling history. Whether you like them or not, there's no denying that they changed the business. They broke records, and they are truly one of a kind. And I'm talking about none other than the NWO. Now, for those of you too young to remember, the NWO was a bad boy group of wrestlers that came out of WCW during the Monday Night Wars, led by Hollywood Hulk Hogan after he turned on his longtime friend and mentor, Ric Flair. Hogan joined forces with Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, also known as the Outsiders. This trio would go on to become one of the most dominant factions in wrestling history, capturing numerous championships and main eventing multiple WrestleManias. What made the NWO so great was their presentation. They looked like a real street gang with their black and white logo and their signature spray paint. They had swagger, they had attitude, and they were unapologetically themselves. The NWO wasn't afraid to speak their minds, and they weren't afraid to get in your face if you didn't agree with them. This made them extremely popular with fans, especially the younger crowd. The NWO also created some of the most exciting moments in wrestling history. Do you remember when they invaded WCW's Halloween Havoc in 1998? Or how about when they attacked and beat up Ric Flair at Starrcade 98? Those are two of my favorite memories of the NWO. They brought a level of intensity and excitement to wrestling that hadn't been seen before. They showed that it was okay to be bad and that it was cool to be hated. The NWO was more than just a faction. They were a movement. They represented a new way of thinking in wrestling, and they showed that it didn't have to be all about good guys and bad guys. Sometimes it could be about being yourself and not giving in to the system. The NWO might be over, but their impact will never be forgotten. At No. 4, we have the most dominant faction in WWE history. They were a powerhouse group of 3 that took over WWE in 2012, and they did it in style. They were led by the wise and charismatic Roman Reigns, the strong and silent Paul Heyman, and the volatile Seth Rollins. Together, they became known as the Authority, and they wasted no time in making their presence felt. They started off by attacking Ryback and then John Cena, before taking over Raw and SmackDown. Once they had control of WWE, they began to punish anyone who opposed them. Whether it was the returning Undertaker, the legendary Mick Foley, or the rising star, Daniel Bryan. They used their power to keep Bryan out of the title picture, despite him being the fan favorite. But eventually, Bryan got fed up and turned on the Authority, leading to one of the biggest underdog stories in wrestling history. The Shield's dominance was unmatched during their run as a group. They went undefeated in 6-man tag team matches, and they held the WWE Tag Team Championship twice. When they finally split up, each member went on to become a singles champion. The Shield may be gone, but their legacy will live on forever. No. 3 on my list is a group that needs no introduction. They are the most electrifying faction in WWE history, and they are known as D-Generation X. They debuted in 1997 and immediately shook things up. DX was a group of outcasts who didn't fit into WWE's traditional good guy, bad guy mold. They were led by the charismatic Shawn Michaels and Triple H, 2 of the biggest stars in WWE history. Other members included the lovable road dog Billy Gunn and the brash and controversial X-Pac. Together, they formed one of the most popular factions of all time, and they were known for their catchphrases, "Suck it and we want tables." DX was a group of friends who hung out together, partied together, and wreaked havoc on anyone who got in their way. They were known for their outrageous behavior, including a famous incident where they spray-painted the ring ropes pink. They were also known for their amazing entrance, complete with a black leather jacket and a motorcycle helmet. D-Generation X wasn't just a faction. They were a cultural phenomenon. They represented a new way of thinking in wrestling, and they showed that it didn't have to be all about good guys and bad guys. It could also be about having fun and being yourself. DX was a group of misfits who became outcasts, outlaws, legends. Their impact on WWE is immeasurable, and they will never be forgotten. At No. 2, we have a group that needs no introduction. They are the kings of comedy, the masters of the promo, and the greatest talkers in wrestling history. They are, of course, the legendary Four Horsemen. Now, there have been several versions of the Four Horsemen over the years, But the original group is where it all began. They consisted of 4 members: Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, and J.J. Dillon. They were managed by the cunning and manipulative James J. Dillon. Together, it became one of the most dominant factions in wrestling history. The 4 Horsemen were known for their slick attire, their expensive taste, and their ability to talk trash like nobody's business. They were also known for their signature move, the figure 4 leg lock. The 4 Horsemen were a group of friends who hung out together and partied together. They were known for their wild lifestyle, which included a lot of drinking and a lot of women. Despite their personal problems, however, the 4 Horsemen were able to find success in the ring. They won numerous championships and headlined multiple pay-per-views. The 4 Horsemen were more than just a faction. They were a brotherhood. They were a group of friends who stuck together through thick and thin. They were rivals, they were enemies, but above all, they were brothers. The 4 Horsemen may be gone, but their legacy will live on forever. And finally, at No. 1, we have a group that needs no introduction. They are the most dominant force in wrestling history, the HBK. The Heartbreak Kids were a faction in WWE during the late 1980s and early 1990s, and they were led by the charismatic Shawn Michaels. Other members included the talented Marty Jannetty, the massive and powerful Diesel, and the smooth-talking and supremely arrogant Chicho Sid. The Heartbreak Kids were known for their signature move, the sweet chin music, and their amazing entrance, complete with a leather jacket and a baseball cap. The group was incredibly successful, capturing multiple championships and headlining numerous pay-per-views. They were a powerhouse faction that dominated the competition and left a lasting impact on the wrestling world. The Heartbreak Kids may be gone, but their impact will never be forgotten. So that's my list of the top 5 factions of all time. Let me know in the comments below who you think are the best factions of all time. And don't forget to subscribe for more great videos. Thanks for watching.